Hi. So in this video, we're going to have a quick wee run through some basic skills on Google Sheets. To start with, to create a new sheet, you can do so in your Google Drive by typing sheets.new, or in your assignment in Google Classroom by going to create and add and create and choosing a new sheet there. I've dropped down just a note here of the kind of key things that we're going to cover. So we're adding numerical information, which is simply just typing things into the spreadsheet, really. Using basic formulas for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, um, using common functions like sum, min, max, and average, and inserting a chart or graph to present information in your sheet. So, really, there's a couple of options we've got here in terms of what we put in, but really, for the sake of keeping it simple, we could just put in something that we've made up. It doesn't really matter, okay? So I just paused the video because I didn't think you'd want to watch me typing things into cells here, but I've decided to make a really simple example where it's about how I spend my time. So for each of the days of the week, I'm going to just make up some figures about how I spent my time on these different activities: work, entertainment, cooking, dog walk, sleeping, and then we'll work out the other using a formula. Okay, so to enter information into a cell, we simply click on it, and then we can type with our keyboard instantly. If you need to format things, if you select cells, say for example I wanted to make all of these bold, I can use the control key and hold that while I'm selecting things, and then I can click on my formatting options. I can likewise do different colors in the cells and all that sort of stuff. It's fairly straightforward though. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about formatting because that's not really the objective here. I think most of that's pretty self-explanatory, but remember with selecting cells that you can select by column by clicking the headers, by row by clicking these. You can select the entire thing if you need to format, for example, all the fonts the same way, or you can hold the control key to select, groups of cells if you want to. So anyway, we'll make up some data here. So let's just say for work, we'll just say that we do work for 10 hours on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And so to duplicate that information across there rather than typing it, we can grab that wee button and drag it across there. And then on a Saturday and Sunday, we'll say we do no work. On entertainment, let's just make up some figures. So I'll just say we do 2, 3, 1, 4, and so on. So I'm going to finish filling this out. I'm going to pause it again because you'll not want to watch me doing that, but you get the idea. So you can make your own spreadsheet up of something similar, however you prefer. Okay, so I've finished putting in some information there, largely just made all this up. And I've left other blank, I'll explain why. So I've added another column or another header here for total per activity. So we're going to add a simple formula, first of all, to calculate how many hours we spend working over the course of a week. Now we could do that in a couple of ways. We could do it by doing an equals add. So we could do equals this plus, so we use the plus key on our keyboard, plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that, and then hit enter. And that will just work it out for us. But because that's a bit of a slow way of doing it, because we have to type them all in individually, the alternative is that we could use a function. So we could do equals sum, okay, and so it says a sum of a series of numbers, and then you'll see that it opens brackets. Really important with sum, with functions to open brackets. So we just select all the boxes, and we can close brackets. You can just hit enter though, it still works, and that works as well. So we can grab that and just drag it down. Now we'll not have anything in here yet because we haven't put any figures in these cells, but that's now given me my totals for all of these. And remember, with relative referencing, that sum, see it's acting on row 4. As we copied it down, it knows to change the reference to the rows. Now, if we wanted that not to do that, if we wanted it to always refer to a particular cell, that would be brain's gone blank. Sorry, just had to have a moment to remember. It's absolute referencing. So we would use the dollar signs if we wanted the formula or function, even when copied, to always refer to a particular cell. So the next thing we're going to do is look at finding out how much time we use for these activities and what the other time would be. So the other time, we could work out that figure by just taking the number of hours in a day, which is 24, and subtracting all of this stuff from it. And so to do that manually would be a bit laborious. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a formula or a function here. We're going to do a wee kind of combination. So we're going to do equals. This is going to be equals 24 minus, and then in brackets, we're going to do, well, we could do it a couple of ways. We'll do it the normal kind of formula way because it's easier to think of. This plus this plus this plus this plus this with brackets. Okay? And that should give us how many hours are left. Okay? So that's basically taken 24 and it's subtracted all these other hours. So that's the number of hours that are left. And if we drag that over, you'll see that it will, actually just missed a couple, so we'll just keep dragging that again. Drag that over, and you'll see that it works out that actually on a Thursday, I have spent more time than exists in a day on doing stuff. I've spent 24 and a half hours doing things on a Thursday, so it's a busy day. That's the downside of making figures up. But anyway, let's not worry about that too much. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. If we have a look at these, you'll see again that the column reference has changed. You'll see that now it's an E, and this one here will be an F, and so on and so forth. So those are some basic, basic formulas, adding, subtracting. You just use the math symbols plus, minus, times as necessary. And if we wanted to, for example, figure out how many hours we're likely to spend working on, for example, a year, and we worked, say, 48 weeks in the year, and we know that we work 50 hours a week, we could do, in a year, we could do equals this times 52. No, actually 48 it said, because we don't usually work every week here, so 48. Okay, and that would tell me that in a year we'd work that number of hours. We could kind of again estimate that for the whole lot by just dragging that down. So we can estimate how many hours a year we spend doing these different things, if that's a kind of a weekly total. We could do some other clever things, like, for example, we could do on average. So we could do an average figure. And in here we could, for example, say we want to find the average number of hours that we spend on entertainment. So we're going to do equals average. And you'll see that that pops up there and opens brackets, and then we're going to do the average of these figures here, not including the total, just these ones here. Hit enter, and that says that we do an average of 3 and a bit hours of entertainment time per day. And again, you could duplicate that as much as you wanted. We change the number of decimal places down, and we can do all sorts of other clever things, like, for example, changing formatting to currencies by clicking on here, or percentages, but we'll probably not need to do that for the assessment task. So the last thing that I'm going to do is insert a chart graph really quickly. Hopefully that made sense here. There's other functions you could do, like max and min, which will find the maximum value or the minimum value in a range, but that's the same principle as average. It's just equals max or equals min, and that will allow you to do the same thing. So you just select a group of figures, and it will tell you whichever one is the highest among them. So to do a graph here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a chart on the total for each activity, right, rather than having all this information. So what I want to do is I want to select the data. So I'm going to select that first of all, and I'm going to hold the control key. I'm going to select all the totals, and then I'm going to just go up here to insert chart. And you'll see that it gives me a bar chart, which will tell me our kind of total amount of time per activity for each of these different activities. Now, there are other ways that we could insert charts here. We could do that as a pie chart. If we wanted to, for example, if we wanted to do a pie chart of the amount of time spent in a day, we could grab one of these, and we could probably grab these and then go to the charts, insert a pie chart, and divide up our day by how it's spent. So give that a wee try. Let's just go. You do have to be careful. Sometimes when you do charts, you have to, you have to try it out and see if it works, because it depends on the date you pick up. But that's pretty straightforward. So that says on a Monday that this is how we spend our time, divides it all up for us. And you could do, for example, a line graph to chart how that changes for one of these activities over the course of a week. I'm not going to get too bogged down in doing that just now, though. So that's how we do those kind of basic activities in Sheets. One thing I'm going to show you is how we insert a chart into a document. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this document that we had before. Nothing related to Doge here, but just for the sake of showing you. So if we have a chart that we've created in spreadsheets, we might want to put that into a document. So if we go to insert here, you'll see that if we go down, we should have an option for a chart here, and we can go from sheets. So I want to get the one from that untitled spreadsheet. So I'm going to select this one here. And it's going to show me now any charts that I had in that spreadsheet. So if I select this one here and hit import, that will now bring that chart in for me, and I can make it a bit smaller if I need to. And the clever thing is it's actually linked. So if I go into there, see where it says work here. If I go into there and I punch in let's just see, we'll go into that sheet here, and we'll just mess this up by putting in 20 there and there. So you'll see that the chart here has changed, because it's got to reflect the increase in the numbers, so because the chart's related to the data. If we go to this one and hit update, you'll see that the chart here will update as well. So it's actually quite clever. It allows you to insert charts from a spreadsheet, and they will constantly update with any new information that goes into them. So that's covered the main things that we wanted to learn about, and I'll leave it at that. If you've got any questions, as always, just let me know.